You'll know the numbers right off the top of your head, but I believe it is at the end of the Civil War, the black percent of wealth in the country was 0.5%. Okay. Right after the Civil War, right after slavery is abolished. Okay. Today, it's 1.5%.
It tripled.
So
that's amazing.
Progress, but not much progress in all those many years. And that's with, the civil rights era and all of that coming into play as well. What happened?
We didn't have rights. We didn't actually have real substantive rights. Right? So democracy, just making people slaves, just freeing them from slavery in a kind of market-based system doesn't exactly secure them freedom, right? Because you don't have any property. That means you're working for some other, your old boss. He's not your master now. They're just your employer, or they'll rent the land to you. But then you'll end up sharecropping for them, giving them your crop at the end of the year. And then you don't have institutions to teach you how to fight legally. And you don't have the administration of justice, so that if you have institutions to teach you how to fight legally, they're going to work your way anyway. So, Reconstruction, which was the series of programs that were instituted after the Civil War, actually worked until the North cut a deal with the South, Southern whites, that we're not going to police you about how you're going to treat black people. And then the North kind of pulled out, and everything went pretty much back to the antebellum period. People don't understand, and the pundits don't talk about, black people are poor in the United States. There isn't there's a class stratification. No, there's no real class stratification. There's working poverty, and then there's abject poverty, and then there's prison, and then there are the people you see on TV, right? Mm-hmm. So there's not really a class structure. There are people with good government jobs, teachers, a handful of them. And then those people are also related to people who are abjectly poor. I think by the numbers, it's 30% are at the level of poverty and below. But I think over 50% have a household income of $50,000 or less. And that means that you really can't sustain anything. Your people are broke, right? And money only makes sense in terms of other money. So you have to understand what white money looks like. So 1 out of every 7 white households is worth $1 million. 1 out of every 7, it's 15%, right? So that's pretty much everyone you see on TV. It's worth 15%. 15% of white households are worth $1 million. 1 out of every 45 black households is worth $1 million. And if you go to California, $1 million isn't really that much money, right? So it means $1 million in California means you own one house and
a Nissan.
It means you're getting by.
Yeah, right. So that means black people in California, which means, and I say this because I'm from California, but I can't afford to move back. I've been priced out of my home state. I'm in Athens, Georgia, where black people can live. And I'm seeing my friends from California who are black move out of California too, which means black people can't afford to move to California. Right. So that's a whole state that's functionally we've been priced out of. And just by being black, and not just, so you have individual black people who are worth money. People talk about, well, Obama's worth money. Yeah. But they're related to poverty. They're their cousins are poor, right? Or struggling. There is no passing around the hat for
generational wealth.
Capital.
Talk about
there's no access
net worth,
to generational wealth. And think about all the businesses that start from a mortgage or from a house, or an uncle. I was talking to a venture capitalist, obviously not black, a real venture capitalist. He was like, you know what? Money comes from family money, right?
Yeah, generational.
Or when venture capitalist firms actually fund you, they don't fund you $50,000 for the first invention. They'll fund you for the fourth thing, expecting you to fail. Well, there's just not that kind of community money in the black community. So real wealth isn't what's in your account. It's in the accounts of the people who are at your wedding. And black people can't even afford to get married. Right? So it's to talk about wealth without actually digging into the fact of black community-wide poverty is, and we're downwardly mobile. There was a horrible study from the Brookings Institute. Oh, not horrible, it's just truth about how the black people who are born in the middle class are actually downwardly mobile, are going to mature into poverty. the people who were born in the black middle class that kind of existed with government jobs in the 80s before, you know, a lot of those jobs were gutted.
Yeah. So, Irami, two questions I have for you. It's related to this net worth. And Krystal, you jump in if you know this. I remember reading the net worth numbers in like 2014 or 2015, and I was astonished by them. I think the average white family has like $200,000 in net worth or something like that.
That's 116.
And what's the average black family?
Like $7.
Well, medians,
no, literally.
Medians are actually the better number. The median white family, that means like the middle, you throw a rock, this is what you'll hit, $116,000.
Right.
Median black family, you throw a rock in a black neighborhood, $1,200.
$1,200.
And these are numbers from Edward Wolf, right? So $1,200, you can't take any shocks. And nobody in your community can take any shocks. That means you go to a church and everyone there is only worth $1,200. So like nobody can take any shocks. And this was very clear in the governor's race in the last governor's race we had. I think it was 2018, where Stacey Abrams had to come clean about still owing $200,000 in school loan debt. And this is Stacey Abrams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she owed $200,000. She's got a Yale law degree, an economics degree, a degree from Spelman, and she's still $200,000 in debt because she was helping out all of her family. She got a brother in jail, and then her family's like, they're kind of professionals, but she was still helping them out and ended up
somebody had a healthcare issue.
Yeah. What are the solutions, Irami? Talk to me about solutions.
Well, you need universal solutions, which you guys like a lot. It's going to be like a federal job guarantee, right? So we need to guarantee everyone who's willing to work, everyone who wants to work, a job at, I think, $25 an hour. You don't even have to worry about minimum wage if you just do that. A federal job guarantee at $25 an hour. And then it's funny because they have a program like this in India, in rural India, and it turns out that this increased private sector hiring because the jobs actually like secured commerce infrastructure like roads and broadband, so like more people could do business and start businesses, and it got people working and getting used to working for real money, and then they had money in their pocket, right? So what you do is you secure a federal job guarantee. There's a guy named Sandy Darity who wrote a paper saying that this is one thing that could actually go at the wealth gap, because right now that wealth gap is so stark. It's not just a wealth gap, it's a freedom gap. If you look at all of these mayors, all of these black mayors who had to endorse Bloomberg because at some point in time Bloomberg had literally like given them cash because they didn't have cash. You just know that black people aren't free. We're not really self-determining. Like, we don't control our own media. We don't, like, all of our media. I think BET is owned by Viacom, which I suspect doesn't have a lot of black people on their board of directors. So like we don't own the ideas that get fed to us. Or the pictures, the people who buy Obama do, right? And that's a huge problem insofar as we're not a self-determining people.